Hey, deserving listeners, 90 Day Fiancé. Let's watch.
Flirty message.
Ну, мне интересно, как ваша переписка?
Я спрашиваю у Стивена: Стивен, скажи, а часто ли ты бываешь там зимой? Или ответ Стивена: зачем ждать зимой? Сейчас я в Турции, захвати купальник.
Что?
Yikes. All right, so according to Masha, Alina's friend, Masha was communicating in a secret fashion, meaning that she wasn't claiming to be Alina's friend, with Steven. And according to Masha, Steven is inviting her to Turkey while Steven is there with Alina, saying, come on, bring your bathing suit. Now, I suppose Steven could argue, look, I was just being friendly. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm not actually flirting. I don't want to be with someone. Maybe. I mean, people can be misunderstood as flirting sometimes, for sure. But given what Steven has done already, given the presentation, it seems at least suspicious. And if you're Alina, you're going to be extremely suspicious. Because who else is he even communicating with that he's not telling Alina about? So, yikes.
Серьезно? Купальник? Он сказал тебе захвати купальник?
Подмигивающий смайлик.
And, you say, bring your bathing suit, wink face emoji. I mean, that's definitely saying something, right? Or you don't know how to use emojis.
Что это значит, Маш?
I can't imagine how many girls he talk with this way. He needs to delete his social media once for all.
I mean, yeah, I guess, but he needs to not be a liar who flirts with other people and cheats on you, and lies to you. Deleting his social media isn't going to change his personality.
Because you promised me you are going to change, but you still have your social media accounts.
Well, we had that conversation just the other day. I feel like I need some time.
You always say me that you are going.
Okay, so he said he needs time. Well, okay, so first off, she asked him to delete this social media accounts. He said okay, but he didn't intend on doing it, which is a lie and self-destructive, really, because she'll find out. Then she says, have you deleted your social media accounts? And he's like, oh, I guess she means it. Okay, well, I'm going to need some time. Okay, so it's been 24 hours. Is that enough time? Yeah. How long could it take? 20 minutes tops to just be like, hey, I'm going to be turning off my accounts, or, whatever. Text me, or I don't know, whatever. Because that's the other thing. Anyway, point is that he is saying he needs more time. Okay, fine. You need more time. Tell her, hey, by the way, Alina, I'm in the process of getting rid of all my accounts, but I'm kind of tying up some loose ends and notifying people and that kind of thing. And so just, give me a little bit of time. But he, that's not what he's saying. And so it lends itself to this shadiness that, just another tick in the column of shadiness.
I'm regretting promising Alina that I'm gonna delete my social media, because now she's constantly on my back about it, and I feel that her asking me to delete it is coming from a place of insecurity rather than a place of wanting our relationship to be in a better place.
Okay, that's an interesting way of putting it. Okay, fine. You don't think you should have to delete your account. Then why would you say you were going to? Now, 3 times. 3 times you have said, yeah, I'm going to delete it. But you don't think that that you have to. You think that her reasons are bad. So when we've seen now multiple instances where when he's faced with something that he believes is to be unreasonable, he just says something to appease and then just does whatever, even though it's highly likely he's going to be found out. That's a very self-destructive personality trait or tendency that, is not going to, be very helpful to him.
You distracted me by saying something like, oh, I love you. I want to be with you.
Alina,
I know that I did wrong.
Alina, I do love you.
You still communicate with other girls. This is how you show your love.
I love you.
He probably does. I don't know. Who knows? But he probably does. So let's try to figure out why he would be this way. So if he was modeled this kind of behavior where, he's a kid and his parents make promises that they break, or one parent to another parent, like with Submit, he watched his dad, just appease the mom. The dad, according to Summit, the dad actually came to Summit when Summit was a kid and said, look, you just have to just tell your mom whatever, because she's crazy and you got to get her off your back. And so there's no pleasing her. So just lie. So did he go through something like that where someone came to him and said, look, you just gotta, don't worry about it. They're crazy. Just say you will, but do your own thing. Did that happen? Did he, is he immature? Because the more immature we are, the more prone we are to self-centeredness and therefore self-destruction. Kids, 10-year-olds will lie sometimes, and we kind of expect it. We don't like it when we try to help kids not do it anymore, but there's somewhat normal. It's somewhat normal to be 10 and to engage in a little bit more lying. Like I don't know, late at night, very common thing today is a kid will be on their screen, and the kid will wake up the next morning, they'll be kind of groggy, and the parent will say, were you on your screen after bedtime, after screens off time? And the kid will be like, no. It's pretty normal, pretty typical. It's something you want to address in kids, but it's nothing to be alarmed about. So is that what's happening with him? Is he just sort of arrested development? He's pretty young. Who knows? Is it something regarding his religion, maybe? That there's a lot of rules that exist in his circle. People will email in and comment below about what it's like to be Latter-day Saints, Mormon. And there's a wide variety. There's millions and millions of Mormons. And so some people are very devout and non-hypocritical. Some people are kind of loose with the rules and more flexible. And, there's just a lot of variance. And there's different regions. You have Mormons in Utah. You have Mormons in other parts of the world. There's a lot of different practices. So, but maybe in his pocket, just hypothesizing that there were a lot of rules and a lot of restrictions, but he watched everyone around him say like, well, you tell the pastor one thing, but it's okay to kind of fudge the rules. And you rinse and repeat that enough times, and you just have this knee-jerk reaction of like, yeah, I'll tell people what I feel like they want me to say, but I'll do something else because that's just the way things are. Another possibility is that he's a psychopath and doesn't really care about other people's feelings and lies because he just doesn't care. And he's just trying to get what he wants, or at least he's on the spectrum. I don't know if he is. Usually people aren't that because it's a pretty rare condition, but there's a sizable, 1 to 2% of humans are pretty significantly high on the psychopathic spectrum and don't have empathy for other people. So do we believe that he doesn't have empathy for Alina, that he doesn't care about her feelings? Or that he somewhat doesn't care about her feelings? Yeah, who knows? Does he have ADHD? Some people with ADHD have a hard time with following directions. They have this repetitive experience where they feel put upon, as because people are yelling at them all the time, and they're just like, look, I'm always in trouble, so what's the difference? It's kind of the attitude. Is it that he doesn't really want to be with Alina, and he is just kind of playing a game in his mind, or playing a game with her? Does he have a compulsion around cheating, around being with women? Does he have a sexual compulsion or a relationship compulsion, romantic compulsion? That can happen. It's pretty rare. People will say that. I'm cheating. I'm a sex addict. And certainly there is a thing called sex addiction, and I've treated people with sex addiction, and it is intense. It is nothing, it's not the way that it's typically portrayed, like, oh, that guy, he has sex, he's, kind of has sex with a lot of people, promiscuous. He's a sex addict. It's like, no, when you treat people, when you know someone with sex addiction, it is horrible. It is debilitating. In the same way that like heroin addiction or alcohol addiction or gambling addiction, shopping addiction, these kinds of things ruin your life. It's very clear, like, whoa, that person's got a problem, and they know they have a problem. You know, it's not just like, there's a big difference between that and someone who just doesn't really know if they want to be in a committed relationship, right? And act, you know, on it, meaning that they are with other people when they shouldn't be. Anyway, so is that what we're looking at? Because we're starting to see possible yellow flags of that, because he's still holding on seemingly to a connection to other women. Is he just ambivalent about letting go of that possibility of the ability to date other women? Is he not ready to settle down? You know, there's a part of him want to settle down with Alina, and another part of him doesn't want to settle down with Alina. I think that's the most likely, because that's a pretty common scenario, and he doesn't really know what he wants. He has a hard time really seeing, okay, wait, like, clearly I'm doing things over here that indicate I want to be with Alina, and clearly I'm doing things over here that say I don't want to be in a committed relationship. So I've got to reckon with that, and I've got to either change that or just say I can't be with Alina, even though I want to, because to be with Alina means I have to give this up, and I can't seem to give this up.
Is anybody texted you just like a girl? Did you get any messages from someone from Russia? Her name is Masha.
So I would have played that a little differently. Not that I would have played this game, but I would have just said, so is there anyone, just lay it on the table. Have you been messaging with any women on the internet and over the past couple of weeks? Just leave it open. But the way she asked, it's clear now that he's caught. And so, because it would have been interesting to see if he would have admitted, yeah, I've actually been, texting with a lot of people, just friendly stuff. There's this woman named Masha that I met, but believe me, I'm not, if he would have volunteered that would have meant something. But the fact that she asked, have you been communicating with someone named Masha from Russia? Well, now he knows he's caught, so he'd be stupid to not admit it. And so we don't know what he would have said otherwise. So, anyway.
I put you on a test with my friend, and I asked her to flirt with you just to make sure that you're not going to cheat on me.
You tried setting me up?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty awful, like I was saying from the beginning. If you're actually in a relationship with someone that you want to make it work, setting someone up and tricking someone is pretty awful. And for him to respond and flirt with a woman behind her back is also awful. It's both awful.
So you don't trust me, and you tried to get one of your friends
Flirt with you?
So that girl, you sent her?
Yes, and you didn't tell me about her, which means you lied again.
We didn't really even talk. It was like 2 messages.
I
3
know
messages.
what you were talking.
Yeah, this is... All right, so what could he say? Well, he could say, well, yeah, you're right. You caught me, and I've got a problem, or I don't know if I'm really ready to be in a committed relationship. I mean, when I look at my behavior, something, but he's just being defensive. Oh, I didn't, it wasn't much. I barely messaged with her. That's, it's pretty shady. And you just got to figure, was that the only person he was being shady with? Probably not, right?
Talking about. I know everything.
It's offensive that you don't trust me enough that you would try to set me up for failure.
You still think it's normal that you can communicate?
Set him up for failure? That's an interesting way of putting it. You failed. She didn't set you up for failure. She she tested you and you failed. Yeah, if someone reached out to me, which I guess happens a lot, actually, and I started flirting with someone, I have a choice. I have a choice to flirt or not flirt. I don't flirt with, fans or whatever will send me things. And I'm happily married, so I don't have any impulse along those lines. So I'm not set up for failure. I'm not like doomed if a woman contacts me over Instagram or something. It's not like I'm doomed to flirt with her. So that it's telling that he's defensive in this way. He doesn't see it for what it is. And then he's kind of admitting that he's failing, right? He's like, you set me up for failure. He's kind of admitting that he did fail.
Was just random girls.
She messaged me. You set that whole thing up.
And you text her back.
I basically said that, well, it'd be cool if you came and visited us. So I asked her if she had a swimsuit, but
Right,
I didn't.
This is shady AF. I don't know if we've seen, I mean, a lot of people on this show will accuse others of cheating, Ariella accusing Biniam, there's countless examples, Angela and Michael. And we never know in those situations because we're not there. And if someone did cheat, it wouldn't be that hard, especially when you live in separate countries, to cover it up. But I never see something where I'm like, oh, that looks shady. I'm always like, well, it's just hard to know. It doesn't look like they're cheating. But the way he's responding to this is extremely shady. The way he's defending it, the way he is he's doing a terrible job, I have to say. If I were Alina, I'd be like, okay, the final straw. There's like 5 final straws that are happening right now. 1, you are admitting to it. 2, you're acting like you didn't flirt. 3, you're acting like it's no big deal. 4, there's just so many elements of this of like massive red flags of someone who has a tendency along these lines, someone who doesn't consider someone else's feelings, someone who isn't ready to be in a long-term relationship, someone who doesn't know themselves, someone who has a pattern of denial of responsibility, of entitlement, of the rules don't really apply to me, which is kind of apt given even just mundane things like when he jumped into the pool, when his fart policy. It's all in that category of I don't need to follow the convention. Now, there's nothing wrong with people who are nonconformists, but when you match up nonconformity with seemingly lack of empathy and harm to other people, lack of consideration of other people's feelings, maybe even lack of understanding how other people are going to react, then we're looking at a potential personality trait that is difficult to establish a functional relationship with someone like that. So let's rewind this, because I think this is it's rare, because a lot of times on this show, viewers and cast members are like, you're shady. And I'm always like, whoa, I think we're jumping to some conclusions. This is shady.
Message me. You set that whole thing up.
And you text her back.
I basically said that, well, it'd be cool if you came and visited us. So I asked her if she had a swimsuit, but...
So that's okay? Some random woman that you are saying, come visit. Now, he's saying us. We'd have to see that, but it sounds highly likely he didn't mention Alina at all. And so that's fine. I was just like, that seems like a viable excuse or explanation. Look, I was just talking with this total stranger on the internet, inviting her to bring her swimsuit winky face to Turkey while I'm with you. Now, you just have to wonder what's going through his head. Because let's say that she did do it, that Masha did come. Then what? He's on camera. Maybe he is some kind of compulsive problem. He has a compulsive problem. Or he knows that Masha's not going to come, and so he's like flirting in that way, knowing that it's just a gesture, and it's a way for him to show that he's into her. Maybe that's what he was doing to Alina, right? Because if Masha didn't know any better, then this progressed over the next few weeks. The Masha person could have eventually been like, oh my God, this guy's so into me. He invited me to Turkey. He's totally into me. This is great. So we might be seeing another version of that. I don't know, but yeah, this is extremely shady. And I have to say that, you know, there's pretty rare moments where I think, I don't know if you should be thinking about continuing this relationship. I don't know if Alina should be thinking about continuing this relationship, but we've seen potentially how much in love she is with him, which could counteract any kind of red flag awareness.
Why?
It's just a kind gesture. I don't take it seriously.
You are going to delete your social media accounts.
Okay, so she's still on this track of delete your accounts. That's going to eliminate the problem. It's not the fact that he's done this and possibly dozens of other women out there, because what's the chance that Masha is the only woman that he's been flirting with online this time, over this time? He seemed extremely open to flirting with just one woman who reached out to him. So, you know, the fact that she's still kind of focusing on the account. Okay, if I just get rid of the accounts, then everything will be okay. I don't think everything's going to be okay.
It's gonna take a long time to download all those photos, I feel like.
So what? So
like, this is my graduation picture. I don't have that anywhere else, really.
So save it now, quickly.
We have to use this park Wi-Fi. It's way too hot. We can do it when we get home.
All right, so as soon as we get home.
If this works out between the two of them, this is a very troubling foundation to their relationship. That, one, he would do that. Two, she would test him. I mean, I guess this sets the precedent that she should be testing him throughout their relationship. Three, that her solution is to, I don't know, put a fence around his behavior instead of thinking, does he really want to be with me? You know, because that's the thing that we want, obviously, is we don't want to have our hands on the reins of our partner. We want them to be autonomous and to choose us, to choose consideration of our feelings, to willingly think about our feelings before they take an action, and, you know, consider that and take action thereof. We don't want to have to control someone else. You will kiss me 5 times a day, or else. You will say you love me 2 times a day, or else. You will have no social media because I know you want to be with other women and I don't want you to be with, you know, like, that's a very troubling precedent that they're setting right now. So, but, you know, maybe they'll get through this phase and then Alina will be like, look, we got to talk about your intention. Like, do you really want to be with me? But again, how could she trust him? He says things that she wants to hear that he clearly doesn't mean. He set that precedent he's shown that several times. So I'm really worried about Alina, and I'm worried about her response to this as well.
When we get home, we'll go home, we'll save those pictures, and then I'll delete it.
So let's go home.
Okay, let's do that.
I have to say, this show does not represent men very well. Can I just say, as a man, as a dude, there are so many dudes on this show that I'm like, what is wrong with you? So I just want to say that, Stephen, you are not representing us very well. You are making us all look bad. Stop it.
You make me mad.
I make you mad?
You always have excuses.
Come on, baby. Are you serious? Like,
I'm serious. You are not serious.
I am.
About our relationship, about...
Interesting. So his nonchalant response of, you're mad? Come on, baby. Like, I mean, there's so many things about this. It'd be one thing if he was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Or even get angry. Like, how dare you, you know, test me in that way. But this nonchalant, like, hey, you know, everything's fine. What are you mad about? How, you know, that's interesting. Is it lack of awareness? Is it Machiavellian? Is it psychopathic? Is it something else? Does he have a moral compass that was askew because of modeling to him? Something's going on, though.
Everything.
No, I'm being just as serious as you are.
So let's go and do it. You are talking too much.
Baby. Come on. I love you. You know that, right?
Show me that you love me. Prove it.
Okay. So on one hand, he's like, hey, I just want you to know I love you. And now he should be, if he truly loved her, he'd be like, and I'm so sorry. I mean, so I'm just trying to think what response from him would demonstrate to me that he's trustworthy and that Alina can trust him. It'd be something like, okay, let me tell you, there's been a lot going on that I haven't been telling you about. Either ambivalence about the relationship, or I have a compulsive problem, or I have a lying problem, or I don't know. I've been leading you on a little bit. I'm kind of in this phase where I'm really into you, but I'm also kind of not ready to give up on single life. Some explanation there, and then like, but that doesn't justify what I did to you. I mean, I'm just giving you the reasons. I'm so sorry. Like, I've been lying to you, and yeah, I flirted. I mean, I wasn't heavily flirting with that woman, but if I, to be honest, yeah, I was, and it felt good. It feels good to feel like someone likes me and is into me. And when I grew up, I didn't really experience that. And so now as an adult, for whatever reason, women like me sometimes. And when that happens, it's just hard for me not to turn it down. It just feels good to finally have someone like me. It doesn't justify it. Something along these lines. And I'm so sorry. And you're right. I need to get, it'll help me out, to get rid of my social media. It'll help me, because it's a temptation that I don't want in my life anymore. Something other than, why are you mad? And I love you, and putting hands on, which, so anything other than that, it's either unawareness, like complete obliviousness, which is quite possible. And an askew moral compass is over there modeling that kind of thing, or lack of empathy, lack of consideration, doesn't really understand that other people can be hurt, doesn't understand how you can impact other people, doesn't really care, or doesn't know.
I'm very sick of it. Like, no more excuses. I'm done with it.
All right, well, that does it for that episode. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself, because you deserve it. You really, really do.